Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good afternoon, good night. Howdy. Where are we at? Where are we at? What do you guys want to talk about today? What's important? Hola! Melanie. Hello. What's important today? Probably find some joy in life. That's important. Can't all be about wrestling the RCMP to the ground, you know? Can't be all about taking down the federal government, can it? Can it? Well, I guess it's a matter of focus. What do you want to focus on? Well, Tom, what I'd like to focus on and what needs to be focused on is are there two different things. But it doesn't mean that we can't have fun discussing topics like unchecked power in government and policing agencies like the RCMP in Canada, which is out of control. There's no checks or balances. There's no one looking at specific incidences or following up on complaints or reports aren't even taken. They try to sweep all these incidents under the rug, but man, now you got this huge bulge underneath your rug. What's under the rug? Oh, dead bodies. Can someone help me out with the garbage? I know it looks like a dead body, but it's. Don't look. Just don't look. You don't want to see it. Hola! To the city of Penticton, my municipality here. Once again. Want to reiterate really quickly. It's been just under a month now. And I'm not really sure how many beatings, tortures, killings, and or things of that nature. How many of those things have to happen before we take it upon ourselves to actually, do something about it? Because it could be you next, could be your kids next, could be anybody next. These people, for any reason that they hear something. Oh, this guy, and we heard it from a bylaw official or a security guard, and yeah, we got to get that guy. We don't got anything on him yet, but we'll teach him a lesson. That's what's going on. Chiefs everywhere, it seems like, are getting beaten. One in Kelowna or Penticton, I think it was Penticton, just outside of the BMO, of course, outside of a bank, because the RCMP protects the banks and the governments, but they don't protect the people. In fact, they do the complete opposite. They instigate, and now it's not all of them. For sure, it's not all of them. Come on, let's be reasonable. But it's a good many. All right, it's a good many, and it can't be swept under the fucking rug. And there's no room. The rug's not big enough. And we still have a federal government pushing the COVID-19 propaganda down our throats. COVID-19. That's going to be a story that we'll remember through the generations. It has nothing to do with the virus. It has everything to do with greed. We treat our elderly inhumanely. People are dying alone. They should be surrounded by family, friends. And they're isolated. All these care homes. And it's not just for the elderly, it's for the developmentally disabled. It's for the group homes, for kids. All these homes are run by business. People take on these contracts that the government gives them, or they run them completely as a business. When you do that, when it's someone's care that you're managing, and the bottom line is the almighty dollar, then you will always get substandard care. And I've seen this professionally, personally, many times throughout my short history here on Earth. So you got stories like COVID-19 covering up the fact that bad business practices are killing people. So welcome, Tea in Space. My name's Tom, this is Space. I'm in a bit of a mood again. Well, what kind of mood is that? Melancholy with a little joy mixed in. Is that possible? Yeah. Yeah, that's possible. Oh, you sad again? Not really. I'm neither sad nor happy. I'm pretty content. Tired. But that'll come back. All of it's coming back. Got to remind myself to eat. Hey, Tom, did you have breakfast yet? No. All right, have breakfast. You gotta take your own advice, man, you know? Thanks for the coffee.
Mm-hmm. Put the madness shoes on to the house on the prairie.
Melissa!
Yeah. All grown up.
Melissa Gilbert?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Nope.
Do you want an egg or two to bring with you today? I'll boil 2 eggs for me.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome, man.
You want 2?
Yes, please. That's good in kids. I have a mile. My blood sugar goes down again. Well, I didn't eat for a long time, 6 hours.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't have anything, just water. What?
Well, that's me usually. I think that's probably the reason why I feel so drained and
Yeah.
Someone's moving in. Hi.
L'avenir de l'économie canadienne dépend du succès des petites entreprises.
The title of these talks that I'm giving here is Mind Over Mind. And I'm going into all the various problems which have to do with the control of the mind. And so I might introduce what I'm going to say by saying it from different points of view. For example, if you're interested in communications, it will be the problem of feedback. Or if I may put it in theological terms, how does man follow the will of God if the will of man is perverse? The theologians say you cannot do this without having divine grace or the power to follow the will of God. How then do you get grace? Why is grace given to some and not to others? If I cannot follow the will of God by my own effort because my will is selfish, how will my will, which is selfish, be transformed into an unselfish will? If I cannot do it because I am already the selfish will, then grace must do it. If grace has not already done it, why not? Because I didn't accept it. But by definition, I had no power to accept it because my will was selfish. Must I then become a Calvinist and say that only those people who are predestined to receive grace will be able to live a good life? Then we come back to the inadmissible position that people who live evil lives and do not get grace because they are not predestined to it out of the infinite wisdom of the Godhead, then God himself must be held responsible for their evil deeds. And so that is a nice little tangle. If I put this in the language of Oriental philosophy and religion, it would be something like this. The Buddha said that
Keanu Reeves is coming back with the Matrix 4.
only from the
Cool.
abandonment of selfish
He's
craving.
Neo, of course.
One who abandons that desire attains nirvana, which is supreme peace, liberation. Nirvana
Moss,
means
back.
in Sanskrit blow up. That is exhale the breath. The opposite, desire, is to breathe in. Now if you breathe in and hold it, you lose your breath. But if you breathe out, it comes back. So the principle here is, if you want life, don't cling to it. Let it go. But the problem is, if I desire not to desire, is that not already desire? How can I desire not to desire? How can I surrender myself when myself is precisely an urge to hold on, cling to life, to continue to survive? I can see rationally that by clinging to myself I may strangle myself. I may be like a person who has a bad habit, as a result of which he is committing suicide. He knows that, but he can't give it up. Because the means of death are so sweet. So it all comes down to this basic principle. That human beings have for a long, long time been concerned about transforming their minds. Is there any way in which one's mind can be transformed? Or is it simply a process which is nothing more than a vicious circle? I could ask, why have you come here this afternoon? What were you looking for? Would it be too presumptuous of me to say that you were looking for help? That you hoped you would hear somebody who had something to say that would be of help and relevance to you as members of a world which is running into the most intense difficulty. The world is set by a complex of problems, any one of which would be bad enough, When you add together all the great political, social, and ecological problems with which we are faced, they are appalling. And one naturally says, the reason why we are in such a mess is not simply that we have wrong systems for doing things, whether they be technological, political, or religious, but we have the wrong people. The systems may be all right, but they are in the wrong hands because we are all, in various ways, self-seeking, lacking in wisdom, lacking in courage, afraid of death, afraid of pain, unwilling really to cooperate with others, unwilling to be open to others. We all think that's too bad. It's me that's wrong. And if only I could be the right person. Is this man going to tell me something that will help me to change myself so that I will be a more creative and cooperative member of the human race? I would like to improve. So in so many people's minds and from so many different angles, there is this urgent feeling that I must improve me. And this is critically important. Because it's obvious that, at least it's superficially obvious, that the way things are, we are going to hell fast. Now, in this question, can I improve me? There is the obvious difficulty that if I am in need of improvement, the person who's going to do the improving is the one who needs to be improved. And there immediately we have a vicious circle. All right, you want grace? Well, ask God, maybe He'll give it to you. And the theologian will tell you, yes, God gives His grace free. He gives it to all because He loves them. It's here like the earth. All you have to do is believe it. Or a more Orthodox, a Catholic Christian would say, all you have to do is to be baptized, to take the Holy Sacrament of the altar, the bread and wine, the body and blood of Christ, and there is the grace right there. And it's given by these simple physical means so that it's very easily and readily available. Well, a lot of people got baptized, and it doesn't always take. People fall from grace. Why do that? You see, we're just talking about the same old problem, but we put it a step up. But it's the same problem. How can I improve myself? Was the first problem. The second problem is, how can I accept grace? They're both the same problem. Because you've got to make a move, which will put yourself out of your own control into the control of a better. If you don't believe in the Christian kind of a God, you can believe in the Hindu kind of a God, who is your inner self. You see, you've got a lower self, which you can call your ego. That's that little scoundrel stuff. It's always out for me. But behind the ego, there is the Atman, the inner self, the inward light, as Quakers say, the real self, the spirit, which is substantially identical with God. So you've got to meditate in such a way that you identify with your higher self. How do you do that? Well, you start by watching all your thoughts very carefully, watching your feelings, watching your emotions, so that you begin to build up a sense of separation between the watcher and what is watched. So that you are, as it were, no longer carried away by your own stream of consciousness. You remain the witness, impassive, impartial, suspending judgment, and watching it all go on. That seems to be something like progress. At least you're taking an objective view what is going on. You are beginning to be in a position to control it, but just wait a minute. Who is this self behind the self? The
Of
watching
course, people that get
Can you watch that?
fake skeletons and Second World War machines. Come on. Can't
Because you
explain.
find out, of course, that this is just as the problem of grace is nothing more than a transposition of the first problem. How am I to be unselfish? By my own power. It becomes how am I to get grace by my own power. So, in the same way, we find that the watching self or the observing self behind all our thoughts and feelings is itself a thought. That is to say, when the police enter a house in which there are thieves, the thieves go up from the ground floor. When the police arrive on the first floor, the thieves have gone up to the second, and go to the third, and finally out to the roof. So when the ego is about to be unmasked, it immediately identifies with the higher self. It goes up a level. Because the religious game is simply a refined and highbrow version of the ordinary game. How can I outwit it? How can I one up it? So, if I find, for example, that in the quest for pleasure, the ordinary pleasures of the world, food, sex, power, possessions, all this becomes a drag. And I think, no, it isn't there. So I go into the arts, literature, poetry. And I absorb myself in those pleasures. And after a while, they aren't the answer. So I go to psychoanalysis. And when I find out that's not the answer, I go to religion. But I'm still seeking what I was seeking when I wanted candy bars.
Megalodon.
Yeah, man.
You can get that goodie.
Found at the bottom of the
I
ocean.
mean, I see now, of course, it's not going to be a material good. All material good is for power. Maybe this is spiritual good. But in that quest, the quest is not different from the quest for the candy.
Tanks from the Second World War.
Same old story.
Fell off
You
ships.
find the candy.
Yeah.
The carriers got a dynamite and that. Just that
So this is
museum.
the higher self. The higher
Second World
self
War
will keep it.
tanks, carriers.
And you sure hope
Now
it's
they're
determined.
Mother Nature's taking it all back.
It'd be great to dive it.
Yep.
See if it's close enough.
Then the great problem is how to get that higher self working. How does it make any difference to what you do and what you think? I know all kinds of people who've got this higher self practicing their yoga. But they're just like ordinary people. Sometimes a little worse. And they can fool us. They can say, for example, well, my point of view in religion is very liberal. I believe that all religions have divine revelation. But I don't understand the new fight. Say that we, Jehovah's Witnesses, others say, well, we're Roman Catholics. The Muslims say, no, it isn't Islam. And somebody else gets up, and he may be a rather highbrow Catholic, and say, well, God is the spirits of the Lord, is the most refined church. Then somebody comes along and says, well, as I said, they're all equally revelations of the divine. And in seeing this, of course, I'm much more tolerant than you are. You see how that game is going to work? Yeah, I can take this position. Suppose that you regard me as some sort of a guru. And you know how gurus hate each other. They're always putting each other down. And I can say, well, I don't put other gurus down. See, that outwits all of us. See, we're always doing that. We're always finding a way to be one up. And by so you see that, see? And you say, I realize I'm always doing that. Now tell me, how do I not do it? So why do you want to know? Well, I'll be better that way. Yeah, but why do you want to be better? You see, the reason you want to be better is the reason why you aren't. I put it like that. We aren't better because we want to be. Because the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Because all the do-gooders in the world, whether they're doing good for others or doing it for themselves, are troubling. On the basis of kindly let me help you or you will drown, said the monkey, putting the fish safely up the tree. We white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, have been on a rampage in the past 100 or more years to improve. We have given the benefits of our culture, our religion, our technology to everybody, except perhaps the Australian Aborigines. And we have insisted that they receive the benefits of our culture, even our political style, our democracy. You better be there. You should. And having conferred these blessings, we wonder why everybody hates it. It's because sometimes doing good to others and even doing good to oneself is amazingly destructive.
I got an idea.
Because it's full of conceit.
Firemen
How do you know what's good
become
for you? How do you know what's good for you? If you say you
become
want to improve,
the emergency contact.
then you ought to
They
know
should-
what's good for you.
They're the ones.
But obviously you don't.
Yeah.
Because if you
No.
did, you would be improved. So we don't know. It's like the problem of geneticists, which they face today. I went to a meeting of geneticists not so long ago where they gathered in a group of philosophers and theologians and said, now look here, we need help. We now are on the verge of figuring out how to breed any kind of human character we would want to have. We can give you saints, philosophers, scientists, great politicians, anything you want. Just tell us what kind of human beings ought we to breed. So, I say, how will those of us who are genetically unregenerate make up our minds what genetically generous? Because I'm afraid very much that our selection of virtues may not work. It may be like, for example, this new kind of high yield grain, which is new, and which is becoming ecologically disruptive. But when we interfere with the processes of nature and breed efficient plants and efficient animals, there's always some way in which we have to take them. And I can well see that eugenically produced human beings might be dreadful. We could have a plague of virtuous people. Do you realize that? Any animal considered in itself as virtuous does its thing, but in crowds they're awful. Like a crowd of ants or locusts on the rampage. All perfectly good animals, it's too much. I could imagine a perfectly good mass of a million suns. So I said to these people, look, the only thing you can do be sure that a vast variety of human beings is maintained. Don't please read us down to a few excellent ones. Excellent for one. We never know how circumstances are going to change. And our need for different kinds of people changes. At one time, we may need very individualistic and aggressive. At another time, we may need very cooperative, teamwork. At another time, we may need people who are full of interest in dexterous manipulation of the external world. At another time, we may need people who explore into their own psychology. There is no knowing. But the more varieties and the more skills we have. But
Have you ever walked with one of those?
so you see, here again, the
That's why I'm like,
problem
shut it, shut it.
we do not really know how to.
I was born in not in the barn, but on the ground.
The way the world is an enormously complex.
It's a concept. I used to be exactly like you, but then a part of me said, what the fuck am I doing? My mom,
I think- Well, I was just gonna bring it.
my mom said,
And if you look at the audience,
close the door.
you may see the
Shut the picture, that's.
My mom did this to me one time.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was just recent.
Well,
So, and then she closed the cabinets in her house, and then she left one open, and then she knocked her.
No, but it's to me, I hate running.
use it once to kill them. Like bringing rabbits into Australia.
Well, you know why I put that? You know why I put that?
That's shocking. Anything like that? I know it wasn't bugs in the blood, but bugs all
It's that reminder because I always get my head slightly on it
suddenly became
and
vulnerable to those particular bugs.
just make it a little more aware.
That's
That's
what
all.
you should do.
Yeah, you can be
Not
conscious,
an antibiotic.
conscientious of your surroundings. When somebody else gets really badly hurt because you're not paying attention,
Well,
then you're going, oh shit. That's happened to me.
now I'm liable.
Yeah, well, it's happened to me and it made me feel really bad. I felt really bad. I went, oh my God, that person got hurt. So I said, I'm not doing that again. So I said, screw this, I'm just gonna be single and not invite anybody over.
That's always the answer.
They each see the human being from their point of view. There are a few generalists, but they realize the human body is so complicated that no one
Yep.
mind can understand.
My grandpa was British.
And furthermore, supposing we do succeed in healing all these people,
I don't know, grandpa was in the war.
population problem.
He might have been in the First World
We
War.
stopped cholera, black bubonic plague. We're getting the better of tuberculosis. We may
Would have been
fix
too
cancer
old.
and heart disease. Then what?
He might just miss both of them.
On living.
Middle of it, eh?
It would be
Oh, he was in his
enormous.
80s when he passed.
Then we have to fix his blood.
And no, he didn't miss the war. He was in Great Britain.
Then we find what are they?
Well, the what do they call it? Inscription or inscription?
That's what they call it.
Yeah.
You get inducted automatically if you don't go and go to jail.
What a crazy time, eh?
I would have went to jail. Fuck you.
Yeah, jail. Fine.
Three square meals a day.
The moral and spiritual
Hey, I get on that.
are a great virtue in times past.
Stand by your flag.
These are the things today.
No thanks. Front lines they put you on.
Let's take, for example,
Disposable.
in its own day among Catholics, the Holy Inquisition was regarded as we today regard the practice of psychiatry. You see, you can feel it in curious.
All right, who do we have?
Almost anything is discussed.
Anything going on?
The most complex operation, the most weird surgery.
Same old, same old.
People
It's good.
for days and days on end on the end of tubes.
Let's check what's happening on my Facebook news feed.
And a colorless, monotonous diagram. In all good faith, they knew that witchcraft and heresy were terrible things. Awful things. imperiling people's souls forever and ever. So any means were justified. Pure people of heresy. We don't choose.
I'd like to call Nancy
We're doing the same thing today, but under different names.
discussed today. And I do have some questions that I wrote down. So thank you very much. I would also like to start with the fact that while I am here in vehement disagreement with what is being proposed by this legislature, it does not mean that I am disrespectful towards anybody here. I certainly respect that this legislator has invested, interest in the public health. Please do not accept my passionate, vehement disagreement that's about to follow with disrespect, because that's not it at all. So that being said, I'd like to start by mentioning that this hearing, whatever this is considered, is in no way an acceptable substitute for a bipartisan committee hearing. There were plenty of opportunities to do this properly in the last 5 months and put it through the proper legislative process, and we should have done it that way. This is a little bit of fly-by-night, and it's not at all indicative of the proper legislative process. Representative Linehan recently stated in a public hearing that she would not comment on a bill that she hadn't seen the language of. Well, we didn't want to either. There's no piece of legislation that the public could even read before coming here to speak, and that's not acceptable, it's not democratic, and it's not even really American. The very definition of legislative creep that we all warned you about has now arrived. I'm a paralegal for a vaccine injury attorney in New York City who represents families in the federal vaccine injury compensation program, and I see vaccine injury every single day of my personal and professional life, and it's stunning. We are the law firm that's suing the city of New York for the forced vaccination orders and work closely with the team of attorneys who are fighting the Rockland County vaccination orders as well. I also attend the CDC meetings of the Advisory Committee of Immunization Practices and testify to them multiple times a year. Per the 1986 Act that grants vaccine makers blanket immunity for injury or death caused by their products, vaccine injury is literally the law of our land. My job requires me to have a well-rounded understanding of the topic and also provides me access to renowned medical experts, one of them we've flown here today and I will be introducing shortly, that have helped me translate and understand the science that shows vaccines truly are causing harm to our children. One of them, skip that one. I also learned how to FOIA request information that's missing. To quote Dr. Valerie Horsley in her advertisement of this event, once a vaccine is approved for use, its safety is continually monitored through both active and passive surveillance systems. Through recent FOIA requests in conjunction with Bobby Kennedy and Del Bigtree and their organizations, that we've discovered that there are 0 double-blind placebo safety studies for childhood vaccines. Therefore, no way to know the risk or the risk profile for any vaccine, including the MMR, which was only tested for 42 days on a population of 800 adults. Without placebo testing, no one, not Ms. Horsley, not Ms. Terranova, not the Commissioner of Public Health, can point to any one vaccine specifically and say that it is more or less dangerous than the disease itself, because there is no data on the planet to support that. And yet we're still recommending vaccines to immunocompromised individuals as well. There is no data to support that a non-vaccinated individual is of any threat to an immunocompromised individual. I challenge that assertion and request the source data for that assertion as well. To say otherwise is simply untrue and unethical. The data is just not there to support this. How can any responsible legislature or governing body consider mandating a pharmaceutical product without being able to properly assess the risks involved? Is this really for public health or profitability? Since the 1986 law was passed, childhood chronic illness has grown concurrently with the 6-fold increase in vaccines given to our children. Chronic illness in kids jumped from 13% to 54%. 54% of our kids are suffering from a chronic illness. There's your health crisis, Representative Ritter. And Ms. Linehan, with all due respect, your public statements that vaccines for the most part are safe and effective are wholly inaccurate and unsupported. I've got the data for that. Please listen to us.
I know what you're going to say. I thought you took a religious exemption. Why are you talking about science and health? Because everything I just explained it's indicative of the lack of evidence. There is no emergency for the removal of the First Amendment rights, including my freedom of religion. According to dictionary.com, a religion is a body of persons adhering to a particular set of beliefs and practices. The First Amendment guarantees freedoms concerning religion. It forbids Congress from both promoting one religion over others and also guarantees the free exercise of an individual's religious practices. The infant drug program, commonly known as the vaccine program, is a religion, and the mandates are equivalent to forcing a religion on those with different beliefs. With infant drugs, one must believe that the drug or vaccine is safe, effective, and necessary as they are told by their doctors or priests, who are given instructions by the CDC, their church leaders, who are governed by the pharmaceutical industry, the church. If anyone challenges the orthodoxy, they're excommunicated or wakefielded. One must have faith that the vaccine will protect their child or themselves from disease in order to participate in the vaccination ritual. One must pray that their child does not become injured or die from the vaccine. And one must be willing to accept the risk of an adverse event or even sacrifice their child so that other children will supposedly be protected from infection. Those who believe in vaccination are willing to accept that risk for their children according to their beliefs. We do not share the belief in vaccination.
She's good.
I'm secure in my faith, and I do not consent to participate in a forced religion. I do not consent to be forced into homeschooling based on flawed data from the Department of Public Health and unsupported claims by the media and some members of this legislature. My religious creed, as defined by Connecticut statutes, is my own, and I do not need to identify with any organized religion to express this for any reason. My religious creed does not condone child harm, including children other than my own. That's why we stay home when we're sick.
Yep.
To protect others. I will never consent to something that I know could harm my son when the established science does not support this legislator's egregious
Listen
actions.
to this woman.
Removing the right to choose now not only accepts the current 72-dose schedule that I just explained is dangerously flawed, but it will mandate any or all of the 270 vaccines that are currently in various stages of the developmental pipeline. How many is enough for you? I'm not sure that certain legislators realize the generational damage that they're doing to their own party. So I'll end my speech with a question for the entire room and one for the panel. By show of hands in this room, how many people will never again vote for the party who inserted their decision-making over their parental choice?
Me.
Ever.
Everyone.
And for the panel, I'd like to know what vaccines are required to achieve herd immunity when we have 72 doses
fear.
now and different generations had different amounts of doses.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
That concludes your testimony. Thank you very much. For someone who felt they were ill-prepared, I think you did a really great job.
I called Bobby Kennedy for help.
With that said, I have a question.
No,
I
answer the
didn't know
question.
that you were a paralegal, especially in the state of New York. So I'm glad that you are, because then you can help me answer a question. Are you aware of the State Department of Education decision regarding religious vaccinations in Orchard Park, which essentially found that a mother who claimed a religious exemption and she was denied, and then they went to court, and in court she had stated that it is her religious right to refuse vaccinations, but she also said that she did not believe in the safety and efficacy of vaccines. Are you aware of that case?
I am not.
Because I can send that just from today, okay? The information, the testimony that we received. This is the stack of testimony of people against religious vaccinations who also claim that they do not vaccinate because the safety and efficacy of vaccines is unproven. Mm-hmm. This is the stack of people who have given testimony because they believe it violates their true religious beliefs. If we were to look at precedents and law in the state of New York, and I believe it would uphold here in the state of Connecticut, of just the people in this room today, Here is the stack of people who would be turned down for their religious exemption because in their testimony, they also stated that they believe that it is safe and ineffective for vaccines. And a lot of people have said that it's because of autism or because of, quote, the money grub of big pharma. And I understand where that comes from. But we are here today to talk about religious exemptions. Are they being utilized correctly? And I believe, given that you are a paralegal in the state of New York, you should familiarize yourself with this case, because it is really backing us up in saying this amount of people would not be able to keep their religious exemption based on their testimony.
Per New York state law, not Connecticut, correct?
Correct.
Because Connecticut delineates that we do not have to identify with any organized religion or identify specifically what our religious beliefs are.
At this point, my concern has been that the religious exemption has been utilized in a way that is not for religious beliefs. And so I was just wondering if you were familiar with that case. And what I'll do is I will send you the information on that and you can take a look at it. I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you in the future so we can talk about that.
Meet up. Absolutely.
Great. Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the panel? Yes, Representative Hennessy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Lee, this is quite a heavy lift. There's 6 people on the panel today, and you're it. So
Bobby couldn't make it. I called. Believe me.
I just I think you did a good job. I don't really have questions. Just if you don't mind a comment. So I've been in the legislature 16 years, and I've never seen something like this happen before. We've dealt with a lot of very polarized emotional issues. We've dealt with capital punishment and gun laws and civil union. And the interesting thing that I saw with
there is no law protecting us from the pharmaceutical companies. The government continues
when
to
you go in, where you stand,
rubber stamp
and
every
understand this to be,
fucking
bias
drug that comes down the pike.
Basically, this is how I feel
with no
This is how I
testing.
feel. And it's an emotional.
No one cares.
Philosophical.
They don't care,
Um,
and there's no protection.
the
There's no
interesting
oversight.
difference between that and
That's
this
why
is
federal-
that
On
there
a
is
federal level,
scientific,
everything has to go,
footnoted,
has to be redesigned.
documentation that's just not.
Federal government
recognized.
should not
People
stick their
aren't reading
noses
these
in
books.
things
And,
like
Because
this.
it'd be nice if we could have this dialogue.
Federal government, if anything,
exactly,
if they still exist at the end of
the,
whatever we're doing here,
aspects of double blind
should only concern themselves with
placebo tests,
infrastructure
that
and
that just
I
haven't.
don't know. I don't know if I trust them with infrastructure. No,
I just find it amazing.
you know what?
that
I
we have
rethought it.
this Polarization.
Federal government
I-
gots to
I-
go.
Unfortunate.
I find it unfortunate as well. I find it unfortunate
Uh,
that people in the state, of
state
Connecticut
level
have
government
had their First Amendment
has its
rights
problems
violated
too,
already
And
because the mandatory
dancing with the
vaccination,
federal government all the time.
statutes in the state
we'll
of
take one of them
Connecticut
out
don't
of the
allow
loop
parents to
and
speak
see
up
what
on
the
any
provincial
other
or state
subject other
governments
than
do.
religion. We are forced into saying,
But there's
this
no
is
law
against my religion. And as I clearly
protecting
just stated,
our
my religious
kids
beliefs are my religious beliefs, and I didn't have to explain
from
that
the
to
pharmaceutical
legislator.
companies
I
or the
came here with an
vaccinations. Or
empathetic heart and
in
tried to
fact,
explain
the
to
law
you how my religious
is
beliefs
against
do
us
coordinate
in so
with
many ways,
the
or
lack
at
of
least
safety
public.
science and the
A lot
flawed
of public
data and
opinion,
things of that
because this
nature.
has been
They
going
are-
on for
they
years.
are concurrent. They
And
do work together. So
I remember
to have a stack of papers that say people aren't allowed, or they wouldn't qualify for this religious exemption based on New York state law. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Connecticut state law that says I do not have to identify
Sorry, I'm
with any
listening
organized
to-
religion to practice my religious beliefs, and that's where we are.
Thank you very much. Representative Wilson Phineas.
Yes,
Hello.
this is really, good morning, along the lines of a comment.
See, the government wants you to
I
declare
have to say
what religion
I
you
certainly
are,
appreciate
and
the passion
they're-
in this
they're
room.
basically
I know
saying
I've
that
been from one end of this to the
you
other,
just can't
and
willy-nilly
involved in many issues, and I've remained open
um,
to hearing
do
many
this on
things.
religious
We have
grounds.
seen that
Well,
you've been
let's take
open and
religion
thank you
completely
very
out of it then.
But I find myself
And how about our
offended
parental
by
rights
the show of
to
hands
to
as
do
though
what we think
suggest
is necessary
that
for
that
our
would make
kids,
a
not what
difference
our
to me in my
government thinks
vote.
is necessary.
When I take
It's
a
very
vote,
important,
and
but there's like
as
this
a
stigma
legislator,
attached to it.
as
And it's been
somebody
around
who
for a
has
long time
taken an oath
that
of office,
anybody who
to
opposes
do the very best I
vaccinations
can to make
obviously does not
decisions,
know what they're
they will never
talking
be made
about.
on the basis
And not
of
all
people holding up their
vaccinations are
hands and saying
created
they will
equally.
not vote
And
for me,
today, the
won't vote for me
vaccinations and
because of
the amount of time they're
a
pushing it
position I've
forward
taken.
real quick.
And I'm just so
What are you
offended by
getting?
the notion
What are you getting?
that that would make a difference to me.
We should be
When you
questioning
make the-
all
when
of
you
these
sit up
things.
here and you've been trusted by your constituents to come to a decision. Like I said, you got one vote.
Huge reason
for
why
my
our
district,
the general
25,000
population
people,
has become
and you
so
have to make
stupid
that vote
is because
on
of
your
things like
best
vaccinations
understanding
or
of
not
all of
eating
the
properly,
factors that
not
you could
getting the right
possibly
nutrition in our
And you
food,
know
not
what you're making, no matter what
or being
decision you
stressed
make.
all the time, working
the
too
people
much.
are gonna be
Stress
in favor
causes
of it,
disease.
other
Stress
half
causes
are not.
all sorts of
So
things.
if you start taking into account the raise of hand and the sway of emotion,
The government
that's
wants
what
to
they
keep
are
you
gonna
in a
go home
state
first.
of
Because it will
agitation
mean
and fear
that I'm bought
because that
by a
that
vote
keeps
and
you
that I'm
working
voting
in the system.
my vote is
And
to
without your
encourage or to
assistance, the
get the
government
benefit
would
of
not exist.
people bringing me back here.
People make
rather
these
than making the very
laws
best decision I can, and I
that
just feel the
protect
need to say
pharmaceutical
that,
companies,
because
that
sometimes
protect
I get
governments, that
emails
protect
where they
banks.
say, "You don't vote for this,
it-
I'll never vote for you again." And I'm
wouldn't
like,
exist.
I wouldn't want a person who would consider that.
So if I could just clarify, and
Required
sincerely
school
apologize for any offense that you may have,
immunizations. No.
suffered or experienced
No,
by
no,
that
no.
comment.
Back when I was a
believe
kid,
that the concern here.
I
that the
asked my
parents in
mom,
this
I
room
said,
and
look,
please
I don't
don't
want to
think
get
that I don't want
immunized.
any
It
of us
doesn't
to get
feel
kicked out
right.
of here.
And I was a kid.
But oftentimes,
And she
we are
wrote me a
feeling,
note and she
you're
said,
saying that there's people who are in favor of it. The only people I see.
so
in
it comes down to
favor
the
of it in
parents.
this
The parents
room
had the right
are-
to do
are paid
this.
professionals that are here.
And now,
Every single parent in this room got a babysitter.
But
some of them didn't.
they don't
days off
ask. They
work,
never did
realized
ask
their entire
before.
lives on
They
really
just did it.
short notice, mind you.
And if no one
Really
questions
short
it,
notice
then
to come here and express very sincere concerns based on very serious scientific data that is showing there is a problem, and when we don't feel heard, this becomes a single issue vote for us. Because
you're not
for some of
heard
us,
because
this is
your
a difficult
argument
issue.
has
Some of the
nothing to
parents in
do
this
with
room
the
have lost
economy
children to
and
adverse
how
reactions, and their other children can't
it's all
get a
about
medical
making
exemption,
money.
even though they've already lost one to an
And
adverse event
you're
from a
basically
vaccine.
taking money out of the
There is
pharmaceutical
it's
companies'
not a black
pockets
and
or
white
Bill
issue.
Gates,
It's
you
not
know,
anti-vaxxers and
the Bill
pro-vaxxers.
Gateses of the
It's
world.
a
All these
whole
people
bunch
working
of
on these
issues that really need to
vaccinations.
be
We got to do it for
discussed
billions
in a
of people now. We
conversation
got to do it
that's not
quick.
my
There's
side
this
against
fucking
yours.
rush
It's,
to do it.
as I've reached out to you,
And
Representative
it's all
Linehan,
based on
can we
greed
please just get
and
together? Can we just
profit.
have a sincere, professional, respectful conversation?
No
about
good
this?
can
Yes,
come
it's-
out of
it's
that.
emotional. We're here for our
None.
children. Everybody in this
Right?
room, and I completely respect Representative Linehan and everybody on this panel as well. We all want what's best for our kids. I don't
But
deny
no.
that, and I'm not accusing this legislator.
There
of
is
wanting
no
to harm
law
children.
protecting
I
our
do
kids
feel
and
that
our
this
freedom
legislator
to
is being heavily
choose
swayed by a
from the
lobby
pharmaceutical
who has vested
companies
interest in
and the
opening a
governments that
market,
support them.
and we are not being listened. We have nothing
They
to
have
gain by being here. We've actually
Reigned,
lost
yes,
by being
over.
here. We've lost time with our families. We spent our whole
They
entire
they
Mother's
they
Day.
they put it
Raise
out
your
as
hand
if
you
they
spent
have
your
full
Mother's Day
fucking
preparing
reign,
for this day.
but they don't.
I do understand and
They only
appreciate
they
that, and
say
I
it,
appreciate, like I said, I appreciate that you're
but we
here to
push
represent
back
that
and we say,
perspective.
no, you don't.
But I'm also
Then they say,
here
oh,
because I have to
I
represent
thought
the
we
people
did.
who aren't here.
So all we have to
woman
do
who
is
has
say
an
no.
immune-compromised child who is fearful.
All we have
of
to
going
do is say
outside of
no.
her house because there
Say no to drugs,
people
kids.
in the environment that maybe haven't been vaccinated, or some that have been vaccinated and carry, something that could
Say
harm
no
her
to
child.
drugs.
Or the woman who doesn't want people to know that her child has HIV and can't be compromised. It can't be immunized.
I was
Let's
wondering
not
if you could
overcomplicate the
clarify for
problem
me, because
further.
I do understand the concern of wanting to protect immunocompromised individuals, and I too want to protect them as well. Could the state or anybody in this room, and I'm sorry that the DPH left because I felt that there were some really good questions that could have been posed to them. What is the number of immunocompromised students? Because I know many of immunocompromised people are still recommended vaccines, including organ transplants. People who are receiving organs still have to have vaccines or they will not receive that organ transplant. The only people I really know that can't receive vaccines when they're immunocompromised are people experiencing chemotherapy, and they're usually home experiencing some awful side effects, and that's awful.
We got to start listening to the
what
right
is the
people.
true number of these immunocompromised children
Like
that we are trying
Leanne
to
here.
protect versus
Or
the amount of
Melanie.
families that will be impacted by losing their First Amendment rights.
Start
Like,
listening
how
to the
many
right
are gonna
people.
lose their First Amendment rights to
My
protect
mom.
what-
You know, on these situations, these things, for sure.
Like that, because if it were my child or any child, I wouldn't want to take that risk. I don't know that you can. I don't know that you can adequately.
And I'm going to have to interrupt. Unfortunately, I appreciate your comments and your questions. Thank you very much. But we are limited to one question per legislator. So, Representative Turco.
Limited to one question per legislator. Why don't you
Thank you,
just
Madam
have
Chair.
all the questions
Thank you,
out
Leanne,
and
for your
answer them?
Thank you, sir.
So
all in one
my
time.
question is, we heard earlier
These
from
fucking
Jody
systems don't
Terranova
work.
from the American
Look at-
Pediatrics, who stated that there are situations.
You got
and
pr- you
examples
got about
where
30
somebody does
seats
have a side effect from a vaccination.
With about
You
10
mentioned
people
the peanut
occupying them.
allergy as an example. You know, someone could be allergic and have a reaction, but that is a very, very, very small percentage of
This guy doesn't know what he's talking
I
about.
want to finish my question. I definitely want to answer, but a very, very small percentage of people. The rest of us all here included, and I think it's 98% of the general public here in Connecticut who gets these vaccinations.
98%?
We're good, and
You're fine. You're good, are you? Okay.
Very, very serious, life-threatening diseases.
It's not
that could kill us
98%.
and cause a
The
major
numbers you
outbreak
throw out
and-
at
and
these
kill us
things
if we
are not
attract these
indicative
diseases.
of what is
So,
actually happening.
what
More
Jody Terranova
people are
mentioned is,
questioning vaccinations
we're
now
so
more
worried
than
about the
ever, so it can't be
possibility of
98%.
a
This
side
guy doesn't know
effect
what
for
he's
a
talking about.
vaccination. That because of that, we are having a discussion and people are exempting themselves to the possibility of getting a disease that is way, way worse for us as individuals and for
Oh,
the
you're a
general public
scientist now?
than the possibility of a side effect.
But you're an
from the
expert
vaccine.
on
So what I'd
viruses?
like to know is,
Fuck
why
you.
do you personally
Step down.
not,
You're,
advocate
you're,
for
you no
these
longer
exemptions?
represent
Yes,
your
there are
community.
some risks involved with every medication that someone takes. There is some risk.
Which is
There
why
a
there
side
should
Hey,
always be
effect.
there's
Why would
no
you go that
risk involved when
direction,
you don't take
first,
medication. It's
you know,
like,
wanting to protect yourself from diseases that could.
how about you allow your own
So,
body to protect
thank you for your
itself
question and
from
thank you for your time.
diseases?
There's a couple of points I was trying to write down so I could keep up and address all of your
Good
points.
job. She's good.
As you mentioned that a small number of people have adverse reactions to vaccines. I would dispute that.
Of course you would.
Thank you for joining us. Happy to see you here. Thank you for coming. I would refer you to the Harvard Pilgrim study that references funded by the HHS that found that only 1 to 10% of actual vaccine reactions are actually ever recorded or reported. So if you look at the vaccine injury compensation data to date, which has paid out $4 billion in taxpayer money, that's only 1 to 10% of true vaccine injury. So 4 billion times 100. We're talking catastrophic damage here. So that's just that. So the adverse reactions are not as insignificant.
Hey, Melanie,
as you
this
think,
is
and they
part
can
of
be a
your
lot more than
painting
what
that I
people
gotta send
realize.
you
They can
sometime.
be simple as chronic ear
I
infections.
keep on
that
finding
require
parts of your
chronic
painting all over my
antibiotic,
house when I
prescriptions in
clean.
the first year and a half of life. They can be
Mine are diamonds.
eczema, they can be lupus. They can be
Mine are clubs.
diabetes or arthritis. They can be autism because there have been cases adjudicated in the federal vaccine court for autism. So when you're talking that it's just a small number of people, why don't we want to protect ourselves from a disease? As I stated earlier, 54% of our children in this country have a chronic illness that lasts their entire lifetime.
Yeah.
That is disabling. They cannot leave their house. Some of them can't talk. Some of them are wearing
Yeah.
diapers at 20 years old. They're wearing helmets
Autism,
and
all
smearing
sorts
their
of
feces all over the wall.
developmentally
That, to me, I'd rather have measles for a
disabled.
week and know that I can treat it because it's not 1945
I've seen it. I've seen them
We
all.
can treat measles with vitamin
And you
A,
wonder
low
at the
sunlight,
time, you wonder
with nutrition,
what
hydration.
happened?
We have hospitals. We have
Why is there so
quarantine,
many
we have antibiotics,
people
we have all sorts
coming
of great
down with
things that can
these
treat
crazy
infections now. We have sanitation, we have clean
dysfunctions?
running water. We don't defecate where we eat anymore. It's not the same as it used to be in the early 1800s when children were dying of measles. When
That's
we
right.
had them working in mines 18
Ah,
hours
she's
a day
good.
before the child labor laws
What
took
a
effect.
great
And they weren't
progression of
getting
thought.
access to sunlight or proper nutrition or proper hydration. Yeah, they were killing kids back then. It's a lot different now. I would take a week of measles any day over what I'm watching some of my parents
Absolutely.
experience in my daily life. Honestly, measles is not deadly in the United States. We have not had a child die from measles in a long time.
Yeah.
And the last child that died of measles in the state was wasn't even a child, it was a 21-year-old immunocompromised person who had received a bone marrow
Already
transplant
compromised.
2 months prior and had the vaccine. So we're not talking about an emergency here. That
No.
with all due respect, I understand and respect the legislator's concern to protect public health.
Oh man,
This
she's
shouldn't be happening.
she's
This
holding
seems to be
back. She's
opening up a
good.
market
She's
for
better than me at
profitability
this.
rather than protecting public health, because it is not in the interest of public health. Measles is not
Diplomatic and forthright.
And when we are exposed to it, there's zero scientific data to support the rabbi's claims that 90% of unvaccinated people who are exposed will catch measles. That's simply unsupported. And we have the data to prove that experiencing reactions from the measles vaccine. Please read. I printed this out. It's 1,500 pages. And I'm happy to share this with any of you. I printed
They
it out
won't
at
read
my own
it.
expense.
They've
There
already
is
made
tons
their
of data
decision.
in here
That's the
to
problem.
state
These guys,
the vaccines
these
that we are
people
trying to
gots to
mandate
go.
on these
They're
children
either
are causing
ignorant,
way
stupid,
more harm than
or they're in
good.
on
The
it.
data
They
is
know what's
catching up to
happening and
us
they're
with
just
what we
protecting
found,
their
and it's
fucking
alarming.
jobs.
I have legal proof. I have scientific proof that is accepted in courts of law by judges all over the United States that this is a problem, and that the legislator, while I do respect their concern, may not be understanding the full ramifications of their suggestion of their.
No, they don't.
intentions.
She is
Thank you very
totally
much. Are
on
there any
point.
other
I agree.
questions?
100%.
Seeing none, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your time.
This is news right here. This is the type of news that I want to focus on. You know, not like Fox News and this fucker that comes up afterwards, Tucker Carlson. Here's one thing that I have a hard time with. He put so much effort into, let's say, putting YouTube episodes together or whatnot, or Facebook, and then you play your stuff, and then immediately after that one episode is done, it goes on to something else, like a CNN report or a Fox News report or something else, right? This is something that needs to stop, because you would think that if you were interested in something, let's say, that I would say, I don't know why anybody would be interested in something I would say, but if you were, you would think that the next thing that would come up would be something that I did and something that followed it. Like, let's say, take my cousin for instance. He's a musician in Hamilton. I play one of his songs on YouTube, on Facebook, and then immediately after, it's like, what, Pink Floyd again? Well, I like Pink Floyd, and I just sang a Pink Floyd song just yesterday, Comfortably Numb. I love it, but wouldn't you think my cousin's got tons of shit online? Wouldn't you think they would go on, to some of? Nah, it doesn't work that way. Everything's highly skewed one way, but it's changing. It has to. It has to. It's not sustainable this way. Truth. That's what we want. We all want what's true, right? I think. Most of us want what's true. And it's only the shitheads that don't, or the really, really ignorant people that choose to live in ignorance. It's a willful ignorance. It's not like they can't learn, or that they don't have access to whatever the truth is. They don't fucking care. So that's a problem. But that's changing. It's changing. And it seems like it's all coming at once. We'll see. But we need to watch it. We need to be aware. But at the same time, we don't need to continually watch the fucking news media, the paid news, CNN, Fox News, ABC, NBC, CBC, all these news organizations that are paid and bought for by people who own governments, own countries, to control you. I mean, let's not listen to this anymore. Like, we can, if you want to. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but like, it does bring you down. And I have a tendency to have it on in my house, right? And I got guests now. And I got to be very, very conscious of the fact of how that affects everybody else in my house.
I just leave.
Yeah, or you just leave, right?
Because I got better things to do than listen to politics. My life is not about politics. My life has a different purpose.
It's a different purpose, yeah. And then you leave, and everybody's got something, right?
I did my political thing.
Yeah.
I hated it.
I hate it
said,
too.
Fuck it, I'm not. And I said, that's enough. That's enough. I stopped at the age of 45. I stopped being political and started becoming an activist.
There you go.
And now
Well,
I feel-
this is what I'm trying to do, political activist, in a different way,
yeah,
man.
but get rid of the politics altogether. That's just bullshit.
It's all bullshit.
I don't
For sure.
don't need it in my life, so I just remove it and I go, okay, I need that. I need action. That's what I'm doing now.
But unfortunately, we do have to act,
yeah,
right? Well, it's not unfortunate. We have to act
yeah,
somehow.
there's no way around it because
No.
you can only talk about things for so long, and I get sick and tired of people that don't take action.
That's right.
It's like, what the hell are you doing here, then? Stop bitching and complaining and do something about it.
hmm
I've lost more friends that way.
Well, it's not a popular point of view, considering the ignorance that is. We've all, to some degree, at various points in our life, have become super ignorant. You know,
In some ways,
in some ways, yeah, sure. A lot of ways.
no, in some ways, the majority of me hasn't changed.
No, not you. I'm not. It's when I say us, it's the collective we.
It was we.
Well, the collective we that is us.
That doesn't. You're not answering my question. Who is it? Is it a couple hundred people? Is it just your close knit friends?
No, it's everybody.
Everybody on the internet, then? So
All of us. All of us are connected. We know this, right?
Yeah, but not everybody does.
No. Yeah. No.
So how do we get through to the thick-headed?
Well, how do you explain the unknowable? How do you explain the unexplainable? How do you put words to something that, as soon as you put words to it, then you don't know it? It's very difficult.
All right, I'll put you in the fridge.
All right, boo. Perfect. Thanks. Oh. Yeah, she was totally on point.
Yeah, I moved away from politics 20 years ago. I just rolled my eyes and went, forget it. I'm out here. I'm not doing this. I'll let my chief. She's a better job. She does a better job at this.
There you go.
She does better because this is her 6th term as chief.
What's her name?
Find out.
Okay.
Where was I born?
Lac La Ronge.
Type in Lac La Ronge. Chief in Lac La Ronge.
All right. I'm surprised I remembered that. Lac.
La Ronge. You can even say who is the chief of Lac La Ronge. Be specific. Here we go.
Chief.
Yep. I'm related to
Lac La Ronge Indian Band Consolidated Financial State. Oh, I don't want to know that. Here we go. Wikipedia. So it's the largest Cree First Nation band government in La Ronge, Saskatchewan, and one of the 10 largest Canada, with 10,000 plus population. Doesn't say who the chief is yet. Okay.
Punch in images.
Tammy Cook.
That's it. It's my relative.
Tammy Cook.
Yep, she met Justin years ago.
Very interesting that how many chiefs are women in Canada?
9 or 10.
Yeah.
Which is good. That's more.
No, it's great.
More than there was before. There wasn't any back
Yeah.
in the 70s, 80s. It wasn't until like the 90s that they actually started considering that our traditional female leaders should be put in position of chief.
Good move.
Yeah.
Good move. Balance.
Well, I think she's done a fantastic job of bringing about the needs of the people and putting herself last.
Well, coming from you, man, that's great, man. I don't have to know too much more.
so that's a bit about my history. I come from a very rich background, both culturally and also natural resources and in gold. That nobody knows about, nobody will ever know. The only people will be me and my brother. That's it.
There you go. Okay.
It's a family secret. My dad told me about it.
I've got no family secrets, and I come from nothing.
Well, it's when you live in Lac La Ronge, it's a place where it's so dense. There's marsh pigs up there. It's just a deadly place to live if you don't know your surroundings. Black bears.
Well, I hear it's a lot like Ontario, Northern Ontario. No? Saskatchewan, Northern Saskatchewan?
The very tip of it, which would be the shoreline of the Hudson Bay.
Yeah.
That would be the closest.
Okay.
It's a lot of really rocky, really thick, dense forest. It's powerful in that way, and it hasn't changed. And that's what Cammy's making sure that that is our traditional hereditary hunting grounds. It's staying that way. And get this, she is a professional skinner.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, she
Cool.
can skin a rabbit in 30 seconds.
What an art.
She can skin a deer in less than 2.5 hours perfectly. No meat on the flesh side. They have competitions in my home territory.
Yeah.
The sheep jumps right in there, blood and everything. Like that to me is awesome. A woman, if you're going to be cooking, you should get used to blood. And if I bring home a dead animal, don't get me that skin. That's your job. Traditionally, females were the cooks. They did all the cooking. They did all the prepping. They were really good at skinning bears. Any animal, fur-bearing animals. That was their thing. The men, we were not allowed in the kitchen a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because we would mess up the energy of love going into the food. That's why grannies and grandmas and all the females are hanging out in the kitchen. They're bringing that energy into the food, which goes back to when they say, "Hey, you eat that medicine."
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's an apple. It's medicine. Get it in
Yeah,
here.
that's right.
Everything we put in our body is medicine. So that's why people have forgotten that. So all this crap we have here, GMOs and all this bullshit.
Yeah.
And then no wonder our diabetes went up so bloody bad because we were eating crap.
Yeah.
We weren't eating the right kind of sugars. And it just trickled down. That was part of it. They also, back in 1892, or in that era, they forcefully starved indigenous people on the plains.
What year?
Shortage of food.
What year?
About 1892.
1892, they claimed that there was a shortage of food.
Yeah, they deliberately killed all the animals.
Yeah.
Just so the indigenous people went to the cities to get bullshit, crappy food like white flour, sugar.
Yeah.
And I'm going, you bastards! I'm going, you have no right to do that.
Yeah.
That is a power control. You funneled us into what we can't eat dirt. Nobody can eat dirt. You can't eat rocks. So we have to go to our own viable solution. And we can't eat all the grubs in the world. They're not going to fill us up.
No.
They're good, mind you. But
Yeah. Good protein.
yeah. But anyways, that was a part of this. All filters back around to rich resources, knowledge.
Yeah.
Bringing that back, and we always talk about is it possible to bring back the old ways? And we are living in the old ways today. We have this ideology that every last thing on this planet is a gift.
Yeah.
And that food is medicine, and that in order to get the food, it's to show respect for the animal, I'm going to offer and talk to the spirit world first. That's where the white man got mixed up, and they started using bullets to kill poor animals instantly. And I go, man, that's the deadly way to go. You're not even honoring that animal. So when you do that to the animal, what are you doing to the molecules in the meat?
Mm-hmm.
How devastating is that? It's all jittery like this.
You totally changed the consistency of the meat and the taste of the meat. If you kill an animal and it's stressed before, you taste the difference.
Yeah, because you get all that crap in the
Yeah.
in their enzymes and that. And that. Yeah, that's why people say it tastes like shit.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Go figure.
Yeah.
So that brings that's that whole industrial cultural thing that we're bringing back. And the Alkin Center is one of those places that's changing our people's
Cool.
perspectives back to their traditional way.
Yeah.
Land, the language, the animals, respect, the whole circle of life has more consistency and more power than everybody on the planet.
Yeah.
And the planet loves it. The planet wants more than that, but the people are so inundated with consumption and consumerism that it's
Yeah.
messed everything up.
Yeah.
It's messed up the equilibrium. And now Mother Nature has hit the reset button. We're going back to the Ice Age, whether you like it or not. There shouldn't be any rain right now, but it's raining crazy. We got all this stuff happening down stateside. We have, just insurmountable things going on right before our very eyes. And I'm highly aware of it. And I'm like, I walk very lightly on this planet. No carbon emissions other than what comes out my ass and out my mouth. That's all.
Which is considerable.
Yeah, very minute. My bicycle is powered by my body, and my body is powered by water and enzymes and proteins.
Yeah.
That's to me is the most best thing I can do, give back to the planet, because how many trillions of tons of carbon dioxide, monoxides in the air right now as we breathe. And yet at the same time, get this, the planet doesn't need us. Doesn't need us at all.
Mm-hmm.
And yet somehow she finds it in her heart to say, well, we'll give you another chance. Well, we're coming up to our very last chance. She says, well, I'm sorry. I gave you every gift you could to remedy your own situations. We gave you the best people with the best brains, spiritual people, hunters, knowledge keepers, sweat lodge keepers, mining, like all that stuff. We didn't just do it because we thought it'd be a good idea. We wanted so that you would prosper in the future from our mistakes. Now you haven't done that. Now you're making your own damn mistakes because you didn't listen. Because you thought you knew more than we did and that history was already done and surpassed. But then our archaeologists come back and say, hey, wait a minute, don't you touch that. That's King Tut's. That's his stuff. Don't you steal it. Well, they stole it, and then they say, hey, what the hell's going on? How come I got this weird rash all over me? That's his belongings. That's what he used to scrape his ass with. Crazy things like that. That's the dead is the dead, and there's more billions and tons of gold bullion in the world. You just have to dig for it.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of diamonds.
Did we talk about that yesterday, or was it someone else?
No, it was somebody else.
Okay, yeah, because it was Mike.
Mm-hmm.
It was Mike.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's thinking that there's a limited amount of gold, and Mike just succinctly said, "Well, how deep? Can you go? There's gold. Come on."
We can only go 22 miles thus far in the machine in the ground.
Yeah.
Before we get crushed. I go, tell me that's not Mother Nature's way of saying you can only go so far.
Yeah.
Don't push it. And we push it, and we still oh geez. That's why these corporations are they're so stupid. They're so dumbfounded. Why don't you do the research on not oil? Oil is not going to last forever, nor is gas. And I go, we have it all. It's all right around us all the time. Water. I'm going, damn it. Get a hydrogen cell car, for Christ's sake. It has zero emissions.
Free energy, unlimited.
Exactly. I'm going, you dumbasses are going the wrong way. But Mother Nature is saying, I told you.
No, Mother Nature or the Earth, it's a living organism. And like you said, it doesn't need us.
No.
And goes about its business quite well without us.
Mhm.
It's a living, breathing organism.
Yeah, well, this goes back to that old traditional teaching of we think like it, we be like it, and we are it.
Gordon, on point.
On
point. That's Melanie.
Yeah, well, it's true. Like,
Megwitch.
if you think like garbage, you say garbage, you will give out garbage to the world. And no matter what it is, if you think you're like the next, Donald Duck, and like say, yeah, man, I got the best feed in the world. I got the best pond over there. And that the other old Mother Goose says, no, I got the best pond over here. And the two ducks are going. The one duck says, "Fuck you both. Get over here. Exchange." Oh, okay. Hey, this is a pretty damn good pond.
This is a nice change.
Yeah, hey, can I come to your pond next week?
Sure.
I got the best business in the world. That's called it's about being compromising and letting down your barriers
And allowing.
and just and having the faith to say that's just as good as mine, maybe better. Maybe there's something special, extra special about it. So he goes over there and finds out, man, you got some pretty cool crustaceans at the bottom of here. I don't got them over there. I'll come over in time. Mother Nature just does it automatically.
Yeah. It unlimited. It supplies you with everything that you need, and it's unlimited.
Yeah.
The only thing that's limiting it is us and our brains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the other day I saw a baby mouse couldn't even help himself, but Mother Nature put this little mouse on my trail for some reason, just to say, this little mouse, he fell way up there. He should be dead. He fell 25 feet. How can something so small not get crushed or killed? He was still breathing. I'm like, wow, where'd you come from? I'm like, where did you come from? I went to pick him up. I had my gloves on. And I said, well, I got to give you a little bit of Reiki love. I can't keep you. I'm not going to keep you.
No,
that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
As soon as I picked him up, he was full of lice, just crawling all over his eyes and everything. So I went, oh my God, there's thousands of them. So I brushed him off, went like this, got rid of all the lice, put him back over here, and I held him. I said, Creator, take care of this little one. And then I put him, I found a stinky plant, but it was also to keep him, I kept him warm.
Yeah.
Put him in a little case of leaves and that. So I said, that's all I can do for you, buddy. I can't give you milk. I'm not a mother. And for better or for worse, I got to leave you. And I'll just leave it and let Creator take care of you. I went back that very next day. Of course, he's gone. Probably some snake or coyote came along and down the road he goes. But that's the way of me not interjecting in the course of Mother Nature. Whereas my compassion and my heart would say, oh, let's save this poor little thing and put him. And then I'd be like, no, I'm interjecting in Mother Nature's plan. The plan for me was to be a witness of it, to do my little part and give it back. As tough as it is, that little guy's probably dead. But it's like, hey, that's the part of living that really sucks. We all gotta die.
Or does it suck though? The dying is a part of life.
That little guy, that little mouse, he came into this world for not even a couple days, not even a week, 7 days. That was it. And then Creator said, "Okay, come back home now."
Not such a bad deal.
No, maybe that was his lesson. I have no idea. I have no compunction to figure it out. It's not meant for me to figure it out. It's meant for me just to be a witness, to be like that fly on the wall. Wow.
Fly on the wall.
Powerful images. It said life is sacred and life is very special.
Absolutely. There's what's sacred? The earth is sacred. Man is sacred.
Yep.
The universe is sacred. What else?
Well, everything is under each of those umbrellas.
Yeah.
Plants, all the four.
Yeah,
elements.
right.
You've answered it. There wasn't anything else beyond that, other than green-eyed friends coming down and playing poker with us.
Right. Right.
And, we're gonna go teach this Tom guy how to play real poker.
Oh yeah.
We got the best algorithms in the universe. You'll never figure it out.
Never.
Because it's not from this planet. Oh. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go and have some more coffee and go for a bike ride.
Sounds like a great day.
I've got more. I gotta go pick up my gear from Mondo Creation. I have a $200 camera there, which I think is still in the bag. My outdated passport's there, and a bunch of other things I forgot. My jacket, my other riding jacket. It's an awesome It goes right over your helmet. And that's the kind of hood I've been searching for. It's actually for snowboard.
Yeah.
So, you know, those big helmets?
Yeah.
That's the kind of jacket that I have. It's the same color as this.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Melanie says Megwitch.
Oh, you're welcome, Melanie.
Yeah.
Anytime more where that comes from.
Yeah.
Read it in my autobiography. Did you hear that?
Yeah, probably. It's a good mic, man. It picks up everything.
It is. How much is the book? $35 Canadian.
Let me go look. Do you have it online somewhere?
No, I'm still writing it.
Okay.
I'll be up by next year.
Good talk so far. All right, so coming to you live. It's a Wednesday, 12:21 p.m. It's June 10th, 2020. At the Beaumont Motel, room 240. That's where I call home. It's partly sunny out. Wind looks like it's coming from the south today.
It is.
Dao De Jing. Yes. Naming is the origin of all particular things. Free from desire, you realize the mystery. Caught in desire, you see only the manifestations. Yet mystery and manifestations arise from the same source.
Hey, Dale. I'm doing well. How are you, bud?
Is called darkness. Darkness.
Darkness within darkness.
The gateway to all understanding.
Gateway to all understanding.
2. When people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly. When people see some things as good, other things become bad. Being and non-being create each other. Difficult and easy support each other. Long and short define each other. High and low depend on each other. Before and after follow each other. Therefore the master acts without doing anything and teaches without saying anything. Things arise and she lets them come. Things disappear and she lets them go. She has but doesn't possess, acts but doesn't expect. When her work is done, she forgets it. That is why it lasts forever. 3. If you overesteem great men, people become powerless. If you overvalue possessions, people begin to steal. The master leads by emptying people's minds and filling their cores, by weakening their ambition and toughening their resolve. He helps people lose everything they know, everything they desire, and creates confusion in those who think that they know. Practice not doing. and everything will fall into place. 4. The Tao is like a well, used but never used up. It is like the eternal void, filled with infinite possibilities. It is hidden but always present. I don't know who gave birth to it. It is older than God. 5. The Tao doesn't take sides. It gives birth to both good and evil. The Master doesn't take sides. She welcomes both saints and sinners. The Tao is like a bellows. It is empty yet infinitely capable. The more you use it, the more it produces. The more you talk of it, the less you understand. Hold on to the center. 6. The Tao is called the Great Mother. Empty, yet inexhaustible, it gives birth to infinite worlds. It is always present within you. You can use it any way you want. 7. The Tao is infinite, eternal. Why is it eternal? It was never born, thus it can never die. Why is it infinite? It has no desires for itself, thus it is present for all beings. The Master stays behind, that is why she is ahead. She is detached from all things. That is why she is one with them. Because she has let go of herself, she is perfectly fulfilled. 8. The Supreme Good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. It is content with the low places that people disdain. Thus, it is like the Tao. In dwelling, live close to the ground. In thinking, keep to the simple. In conflict, be fair and generous. In governing, don't try to control. In work, do what you enjoy. In family life, be completely present. When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. 9. Fill your bowl to the brim, and it will spill. Keep sharpening your knife, and it will blunt. Chase after money and security, and your heart will never unclench. Care about people's approval, and you will be their prisoner. Do your work, then step back. The only path to serenity. 10. Can you coax your mind from its wandering and keep to the original oneness? Can you let your body become supple as a newborn child's? Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but the light? Can you love people and lead them without imposing your will? Can you deal with the most vital matters by letting events take their course? Can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things? Giving birth and nourishing, having without possessing, acting with no expectations, leading and not trying to control. This is the supreme virtue. 11. We join spokes together in a wheel, but it is the center hole that makes the wagon move. We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. We hammer wood for a house, but it is the inner space that makes it livable. We work with being, but non-being is what we use. 12. Colors blind the eye. Sounds deafen the ear. Flavors numb the taste. Thoughts weaken the mind. Desires wither the heart. The master observes the world, but trusts his inner vision. He allows things to come and go. His heart is open as the sky. 13. Success is as dangerous as failure. Hope is as hollow as fear. What does it mean that success is as dangerous as failure? Whether you go up the ladder or down it, your position is shaky. When you stand with your 2 feet on the ground, you will always keep your balance. What does it mean that hope is as hollow as fear? Hope and fear are both phantoms that arise from thinking of the self. When we don't see the self as self, what do we have to fear? See the world as yourself. Have faith in the way things are. Love the world as yourself. Then you can care for all things. 14. Look, and it can't be seen. Listen, and it can't be heard. Reach, and it can't be grasped. Above, it isn't bright.
Found it.
Below, it
It's
isn't
$1.
dark.
It's a $1 unit. $8 for that.
Seamless,
Perfect.
unnamed.
Found it.
It's only $3.
It
It's only
returns
$3.
to the
About
realm
$50 to make it.
of nothing.
And in the industry, they had all the tax on it. But it works good.
Form that includes all
And then it's
things.
free.
Image without an image.
I like free things.
Subtle, beyond all conception.
When you least expect it, it's right there.
And there is no beginning. Follow it, and there is no end. You can't know it, but you can be it. At ease in your own life. Just realize where you come from. This is the essence of wisdom. 15. The ancient masters were profound and subtle. Their wisdom was unfathomable. There is no way to describe it. All we can describe is their appearance. They were careful as someone crossing an iced-over stream, alert as a warrior in enemy territory, courteous as a guest, fluid as melting ice, shapeable as a block of wood, receptive as a valley, clear as a glass of water. Do you have the patience to wait till your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving till the right action arises by itself? The master doesn't seek fulfillment. Not seeking, not expecting. She's present and can welcome all things. 16. Empty your mind of all thoughts. Let your heart be at peace. Watch the turmoil of beings, but contemplate their return. Each separate being in the universe returns to the common source. Returning to the source is serenity. If you don't realize the source, you stumble in confusion and sorrow. When you realize where you come from, you naturally become tolerant, disinterested, amused, kind-hearted as a grandmother, dignified as a king. Immersed in the wonder of the Tao, you can deal with whatever life brings you. And when death comes, you are ready. 17. When the master governs, the people are hardly aware that he exists. Next best is a leader who is loved. Next, one who is feared. The worst is one who is despised. If you don't trust the people, you make them untrustworthy. The master doesn't talk, he acts. When his work is done, the people say, "Amazing, we did it, all by ourselves." 18. When the great Tao is forgotten, goodness and piety appear. When the body's intelligence declines, cleverness and knowledge step forth. When there is no peace in the family, filial piety begins.
Oh, I perfectly timed it.
When the country falls into
This is a stupid thing, but the gifts, right?
Yeah.
I typed in filial piety, and then the Tao Te Ching, one of the interpretations of this one verse, it came up with filial piety. I didn't realize it was coming on.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, and it came right out.
And it came right on. It's not weird, huh?
I love when you synchronize like that.
Oh boy.
Throwaway industry.
Those are the things that excite me.
Lots of that on the road.
Yeah, I bet.
Right on, polypyrette.
Just stay in the center of the circle.
She's rich me in a blonde.
And let all things take their course.
Oh yeah?
You know that?
No.
No? Yeah, she's a blonde.
I don't know her.
20.
She plays the goth forensic.
Yeah.
In NCIS.
I see that now. Yeah.
Brains of the operation, man. She's awesome. In real life, she actually,
Yes.
one of her, somebody in her life got murdered.
What difference?
So she went to school to learn about forensics, so she could find out how to catch the
You
bastard.
value what others
Got him.
value.
That adds to her character.
What
Yeah,
others
yeah.
For sure it does.
How ridiculous.
Faux show. Faux show.
Other people are excited, as though they were at a parade. I alone don't care.
What's the difference between queuing in the House of Commons and queuing in IKEA? Well, in IKEA, you get a cabinet that works.
Other people have what they need. I alone.
Thanks, Michael, for those posts. I've posted them
Drift about.
as well on a few different other platforms. Poignant.
An idiot, my mind is
Truth.
so empty.
Is that what we're after here? Is truth? I think so.
Other people are bright.
Well, if you just think
I
so,
alone.
then maybe you aren't. No. We're getting there.
Other people are sharp.
I alone am dull.
am dull. Other people.
Do.
I alone don't know.
Coming to you live from YouTube and Facebook.
Like a wave.
From a little town we call Penticton, British Columbia, Canada.
As the wind.
Paradise to some people.
I am different from ordinary people. I drink from great mothers' breasts.
I have absolutely nobody watching on YouTube, which is weird, seeing
The master keeps
that
her mind always at
yesterday
one.
and the day before I had upwards of
That is what gives her her radiance.
400 to 500 people at one time listening.
The
There's a
Tao
switch
is
that they have. They switch it on, and then switch it off.
Her mind be at
When they switch it
one.
on, then you get all these miserable, hateful
Because she
comments.
doesn't cling to ideas.
And then when you switch off, then there's
The Tao is dark and unfathomable.
one person, most likely Melanie.
Because
That's
she
okay.
loves it. Since before time,
We're going to get a platform that works for all of us,
the Tao,
and that we can exchange ideas freely
it is beyond
without
is
censorship.
and is not.
Just waiting for the right one to come down the way.
I look inside myself and see.
Have patience.
22.
You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. Well, do you want to build Rome again?
To become whole.
It's a bad
Let
idea.
yourself be partial. If you want to become straight, let yourself be crooked. If you want to become full, let yourself be empty.
Hilda, thank you for sharing that post from Bare Bones Media. It's inhumane. Women had to watch through window. Woman had to watch through window as mother died alone in care home. Should never happen.
By residing in
Should
the
never
Tao,
happen.
sets an example for all believers. Because he doesn't display himself, people can see his life.
Best.
Because he has nothing to prove, People can trust his words because he doesn't know who he is. People recognize themselves in him because he has no goal in mind. Everything he does succeeds. When the ancient masters said, if you want to be given everything, give everything up, they weren't using empty phrases. Only in being lived by the Tao can you be truly yourself. 23. Express yourself completely and keep quiet. Be like the forces of nature. When it blows, there is only wind. When it rains, there is only rain. When the clouds pass, the sun shines through. If you open yourself to the Tao, you are at one with the Tao, and you can embody it completely. If you open your insight, you are at one with insight, and you can use it completely. If you open yourself to loss, you are at one with loss completely. Open yourself to the Tao, then trust your natural responses, and everything will fall into place. 24. He who stands on tiptoe doesn't stand firm. He who rushes ahead doesn't go far. He who tries to shine dims his own light. He who defines himself can't know who he really is. He who has power over others can't empower himself. He who clings to his work will create nothing that endures.
Perfect.
If you want to accord with the Tao, just do your job, then let go. 25. There was something formless and perfect before the universe was born. It is serene, empty, solitary, unchanging, infinite, eternally present. It is the mother of the universe. For lack of a better name, I call it the Tao. It flows through all things, inside and outside, and returns to the origin of all things. The Tao is great. The universe is great. Earth is great. Man is great. These are the four great powers. Man follows the earth. Earth follows the universe. The universe follows the Tao. The Tao follows only itself. 26. The heavy is the root of the light. The unmoved is the source of all movement. Thus the master travels all day without leaving home.
Damn. You can't buy calf paddle anywhere but the CVS gift store. Yeah, they give you the recipe to make it.
Oh yeah.
Why should the Lord of the country
5 pounds of sugar,
Yeah, right.
2 things of instant coffee.
You know, instead of the sugar, and instead of the drink, we're just gonna give you some lard.
Yeah.
And you can just stick it on your.
First injection, you die. Closes your arteries instantly.
Yeah.
Well, he's happy now.
A good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arrival. A good artist lets his intuition lead him wherever it wants. A good scientist has freed himself of concepts and keeps his mind open to what is. Thus the master is available to all people and doesn't reject anyone. He is ready to use all situations and doesn't waste anything. This is called embodying the light. What is a good man but a bad man's teacher?
What is a bad man but a good man's job?
What is a bad man but a good man?
I appreciate that she's really healthy, but there's no way I would ever date that.
Nope. Me neither.
Oh, Jesus! Oh, he took on my eye.
But you know what? I'll play a sport against her.
I won't even do that.
No.
I'll just jump on my bike and ride. And say, see ya.
I'll play some one-on-one.
Not me.
Why not?
She's just gonna be a windy one today. That's pretty much it. She's gonna bulletproof around. It's good side.
If you receive the world, the Tao will never leave you, and you will be like a little child. Know the white, yet keep to the black. Be a pattern for the world. If you are a pattern for the world, the Tao will be strong inside you, and there will be nothing you can't do. Know the personal, yet keep to the impersonal. Accept the world as it is. If you accept the world, the Tao will be luminous inside you, and you will return to your primal self. The world is formed from nowhere, like utensils from a block of wood. The master knows the utensils, yet keeps to the block. Thus she can use all things. 29. Do you want to improve the world? I don't think you can do that. The world is sacred. It can't be improved. If you tamper with it, you'll ruin it. If you treat it like an object, you'll lose it.
I picked up some brown paper towels and put the portable toilet.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in there.
Okay.
Just so I can really have to go.
Time for
Yeah.
being in motion.
Actually,
Time for being at rest. A time for being vigorous. A time for being exhausted. A time for being safe. A time for being in danger. The master sees things as they are, without trying to control them. She lets them go their own way and resides at the center of this world. 30. Whoever relies on your Gao in governing men doesn't try to force issues or defeat enemies by force of arms. For every force, there is a counterforce. Gods, even well-intentioned, always rebound on themselves.
That's not
The
working.
master does his job and then stops. He understands that the universe is forever out of control, and that trying to dominate events goes against the current. Because he believes in himself, he doesn't try to convince others. Because he is content with himself, he doesn't need others' approval. Because he accepts himself, the whole world accepts him. 31. Weapons are the tools of violence. All decent men.
Slow. Very, very, very slow.
Weapons are the tools of fear. A decent man will avoid them, except in the direst necessity. And if compelled, will use them only with the utmost restraint. Peace is his highest value. If the peace has been shattered, how can he be content? His enemies are not demons, but human beings like himself. He doesn't wish them personal harm, nor does he rejoice in victory.
All right, I'm gonna
How could he
close down YouTube, my live stream on YouTube, because my computer's
He enters the battle
overwhelmed
brave, with
right
sorrow
now.
and with great compassion, as if he were in fury.
That's why my photo is not
32.
responding. I don't have enough random access memory to do all the things that I want to do.
Smaller than another, it contains uncountable galaxies. If powerful men and women
Work with what you got, though.
remain centered in the Tao, all things will be in harmony.
So, coming to you live on YouTube, I got 0 people or 1 person watching, but right now I'm just gonna end off the YouTube webcam and keep Facebook running for a bit. So, goodbye to that 1 person.
Know where their functions
See ya.